Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us live for our quarterly Q&A. My name is Kiana Craig. I'm here with the medical mompreneur Natasha Miller, and we like to come on live every quarter, at least once per quarter, to answer questions to aspiring billers, aspiring coders, and even those who are already working in the industry and just looking possibly for resources and tips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly introduce myself and then I'll turn it over to Natasha. If you guys have any questions, any comments, please feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll get to them shortly. So again, my name is Kiana Craig. I am a CPB, Certified Professional Biller, CPC, Certified Professional Coder, as well as a licensed AAPC approved instructor. So I've been in the healthcare industry for about 25 years, a little over 25 years. I've been a medical biller for the last 19 years. Absolutely in love and obsessed with the industry. It's been a major blessing to both me and my family, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to become an instructor and mentor, really to spread awareness about the industry. Because when you think about healthcare, most times you think about, become a nurse, become a doctor, you think about the clinical side, not so much the business side of healthcare. And like I said, it's been a major blessing discovering this part of the industry, and it's provided longevity. Of course, I'm still here, still going, don't plan on leaving. So that's a little bit about me. I'm located in New York. I'm a boy mom. Happy Mother's Day to all of the moms, all the moms to be. My love is with anyone who lost a mom. I hope everyone enjoyed, their Mother's Day weekend. So I'm a boy mom. I have two boys, 10 and 8, and I'm based in New York. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. So I'll turn it over to Natasha, and then we'll jump into the Q&A.
Okay, thank you, Kiana. Hello, everyone. I am Natasha C. Miller, also known as the Medical Mompreneur, and I've been in healthcare now over 25 years. And so I do have a Master of Science in Health Information Management. I am a registered Health Information Administrator, Certified Professional Coder, Certified Professional Biller, Certified Risk Coder, as well as a Certified Professional Coder Instructor. And like Kiana mentioned, I absolutely love healthcare. Working behind the scenes has also been a blessing in my life. And some of the things that I do, right, is that I help educate providers. I also do auditing, so I can do some billing audits as well as claim audits, as well as training, right? And then also I'm a professor as well. And so like Kiana mentioned, I'm also a mom. So you have the medical mompreneur for a reason. I'm a mother of 5, and I'm also a GG to a grandson. So we're here tonight, this evening, to answer your questions as we do this quarterly. So please go ahead and put your questions in the chat. We would love to answer any questions that you have pertaining to your CPB or CPC. If you're going to be testing soon, we want to be able to help answer those questions as well. And so that's just a little bit about myself. I'm going to turn it back to Kiana and we're going to get started.
Yes, thank you, Natasha. So the chat is quiet, and that's
Kiana,
okay.
can you hear
Don't be
me?
shy, guys. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I think it may have froze.
I can
Okay.
hear
You can
you.
hear me?
We're good?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I was just stating that the chat is very quiet. I don't see any questions in the chat yet. So don't be shy, guys. Feel free to leave your questions, leave your comments. What I'll do is I get a lot of frequently asked questions as well as Natasha. So what we can do is just kick it off that way. We can start going over some frequently asked questions, which I'm sure will be helpful for you guys as well. So I'll just start off with one. What's new with AAPC? So back in February, AAPC announced that they partnered with VitalSource and they introduced the use of electronic code books for their certification exams. So prior to then, we were only using the print code book. So we had to physically have our code books with us, whether we were taking the exam remotely from home or testing at a testing center, we had to bring those code books with us. But as of now, you have the option when you schedule your exam, you have to select either or, one or the other, if you're going to use your print code books or if you want to use the electronic code books, which are built into the exam platform. So it is, again, the ebooks from Vital Source. So if you're enrolled in a CPB or a CPC prep course and you have those electronic code books through Vital Source, you'll be familiar with them. If you're not familiar with them, AAPC has put together a really great detailed video that will go over how to use electronic code books, what you can expect, what you'll see. We'll get into it, but for the CPB and the CPC exam, you can purchase the practice exams and you'll be able to see the exam platform. You won't be able to see the code books, but you'll be able to see the exam platform. So in this video that I'm referring to that AAPC put together, you'll see the exam platform, and then they'll also show you on screen how to navigate the CPT and the ICD-10-CM books. So I'm going to put that link in the chat. I like sharing links and sharing resources, so I'm going to put that link in the chat. I want you guys to bookmark this website for the video and make sure that you watch it. I honestly think that it should be required for all examinees, actually, before they're able to take the exam. It should be required that they're that they have to watch this video because it's really informative and very, very helpful. So I'm going to put that in the chat. Natasha, do you want to add anything?
Yes, that video that Kiana's going to put in the chat is going to be helpful. Because again, I've heard from those who have taken their exam using the ebooks, they're very successful with it, right? But you want to be able to just kind of see, well, what does it look like? How are you able to do that? I know that we're so used to using the hardback copies, but if you can possibly, think outside the box, possibly look at using those ebooks that are provided by AAPC. You may see that as a huge advantage to you. You're able to search easily for your codes using those ebooks. So take some time out and watch the video that Kiana has provided to you in the chat.
Okay, great. So let's go over the first question from Mideline. How can you get started without going to school, and what books do you both recommend? This is a really great question because I think it's one of those misconceptions that you have to enroll in, a quote unquote school, whether that be a trade school or college or university. That is an option, but it's a costly option. So you have other options like enrolling with a licensed AAPC approved instructor like myself or Natasha. You can enroll with an instructor who is licensed by the AAPC, will provide you with the same curriculum that CPB or CPC prep course. The program includes the books, the textbook, or what they call the training manuals or workbooks. It also will include the code books, right? So you want to use your current year, 2025, CPT, ICD-10-CM, and HCPCS for the CPB and CPC exams. And that's all that you need as far as the prep course, right? Your textbook or training manual and those 3 current year code books. Now, AAPC does, of course, they recommend the current year code books, but they do also allow you to use the prior year. So you can use 2025 or 2024 code books for the 2025 exam. Natasha?
I would also add, if you can possibly purchase the AAPC study guides, they have some affordable study guides on their website. And so that can help you after you possibly have gone with a licensed instructor. And so you need to get some type of formal training though, right? A lot of people think that because they possibly may have a little bit of coding experience or you have experience looking at codes, you don't necessarily have to study for the CPC exam. And I'm talking specifically to that exam, the CPC. I know Kiana talks a lot about the CPB as well, but For the CPC exam, you need some type of formal training. So whether that's through the AAPC, their licensed instructors, you want to have that because it is a lot, and you want to be prepared for the type of questions that they're going to ask you. So very important. So just reminding you that APC has those study guides, and then they also have practice exams that you can purchase through them that can also help you prepare for the exam as well.
Okay, great. And while you're on that topic, Natasha, do you want to take the next question from Latoya?
Yes, Latoya, I just received my book. Can I self-study and then take the exam? Great question, Latoya. Can you share with us which exam you are about to take or want to take? Because that's going to be imperative, right? So as I mentioned, for your CPC, I highly recommend you to have some type of formal training. You really need to go through that because you need to know how to utilize your books, the guidelines. The CPC exam is is weighted really high on the actual CPT coding guidelines. Yes, you also need to know your ICD-10 CM guidelines, right? But you really need to know how to decipher those questions, how to do process of elimination and all of that. So just self-studying to me is not the best. I say get with someone, a licensed instructor or the APC before you attempt to take that exam. And Kiana, what do you want to add for the CPB?
Yes, and I'm just showing another question, very
Okay.
similar to Toraya. Same thing. Do I need to retake the course? She graduated in 2019. Does she need to retake the course, or can she self-study? So very
I can
similar.
answer that really quick. Yes. So that's a great question. So you graduated in 2019. And so did your course prepare you to sit for the CPC exam? That's my question back to you, because there are a lot of different programs out there, but it might not be the program to prepare you for the actual CPC exam, right? So if that course was not specifically preparing you for the CPC exam, then you need to look for a CPC exam prep possibly, or a boot camp, for example, or a review. And then from there, you can analyze and do an assessment to see if you're ready to sit for the exam, right? So if you already taken a course, you may not necessarily have to go through another course, but you need to do some type of assessment to see if you are actually ready to sit for the exam. And how you're going to know is if you take some mock exams, practice exams. Are you scoring 85% or higher? Yes, you only need a 70% or higher for your national exam, but studies shows if you are within that mid 80 range or higher for the CPC exam, you are more successful to passing the national CPC exam. So hopefully that helps.
Yes, and Latoya answered in the chat, and she said that she's going to prepare for the CPB. I agree with everything you said. It is definitely possible to self-study, whether you're, taking the CPC or CPB. A lot of this information will relate to both credentials. But I agree with Natasha. I would purchase a study guide, purchase all of the practice exams. The CPB has 3 practice exams. The CPC has 6 practice exams. Purchase the study guide, purchase all the practice exams, and see how well you do. If you're able to score above 85% on all the practice exams, you're doing really well, you feel really confident, then it's probably a good indication that you're ready to, go ahead and sit for that exam. And if you're scoring below that, if you're not scoring very well with these practice exams and you feel like you need additional assistance, then it's probably best, for you to reach out to an instructor and see if you need to go ahead and enroll in that prep course. Also, I agree 100% about taking the exam review classes. The exam review classes are hosted by the instructors as well as the local chapters. So for example, I'm hosting, let me get my calendar out real quick. I'm hosting a CPB exam review class on June 21st. It's a Saturday, and I'm hosting it for the Cookeville, Tennessee chapter. Okay, Trenton is the president over there. Shout out to Trenton. He invited me to host the CPB exam review class for their chapter, and all are welcome. Actually, anyone can attend. It's a very nominal fee. It's only $25, a 4-hour CPB exam review classes. So you definitely want to look into exam review classes that are going to go over, misconcepts and various tips and resources. Okay, so let's see. And then Taraya has a follow up and said, okay, she's looking for a review type of course. Thank you. Okay. So I think we answered their questions. I'm just going to go back over my list of some frequently asked questions. We kicked it off with what's new with AAPC. So we were talking about the introduction of the electronic code books for the certification exams. That's brand new. Natasha, do you have a preference? My preference is still the print books. I still like print books. What about you, Natasha?
I love the ebooks.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love the ebooks because I think it's just easier to search with. I also agree, though, if you're just starting out, having that hard copy, learning the codes is great to have. But for testing, I think I also like the ebooks. You can search really quick. And I use the ebooks more every day. So that's probably why I like the ebooks more.
Yeah, and they're definitely great for educating, right? So for my CPB course, for my program, I invite Natasha every single month
Mhm.
to join us live, and she reviews practice coding questions with my CPB students. The CPB exam has 135 multiple choice questions, and 10 of those questions are coding questions. So it's a very small fraction of the billing exam. And you're not being tested on how to code because coding involves reading the documentation, assigning the most appropriate codes. That's not what you're being tested on for the billing exam, but you are going to be given 10 multiple choice questions where you'll have to navigate the code books and select the most appropriate code and or modifiers. So I have Natasha join us once every month live to practice answering those questions. And it's extremely helpful because the more practice you get, the more confident you'll be on exam day and the more comfortable you'll be with the code books. You don't want to open up those code books for the first time on exam day. It's going to be extremely overwhelming. Okay, so that's just actually one tip for the certification exam. Make sure that you are knowledgeable about your code books, where certain things are located for the billing certification exam in particular, the place of service codes, the modifiers, which book is going to hold your diagnosis codes versus your procedure codes versus, your HIC picks like your drug codes and transportation codes and things like that. So you want to be familiar with each of those 3 code books that you'll need on exam day. You want to add anything?
Yes, I agree. You definitely please do not wait to open your coding manuals, right, a day before or a week before you test, especially for the CPC, right? You should already have some notes written in your manual, and you can tab your manuals as well. Use those small tabs that are provided to you, for example, in your CPT manual. And then also, it's going to be important, especially for those who are taking that CPC, that you have read through those guidelines and subsection notes within each of your sections, because there could be questions pertaining to those subsection notes. And if you have read through it, you have done some highlighting, underlining, you can easily go back and reference to find your answer. So your answers are there. It's multiple choice. Your answers are there. You just have to know how to find your correct answer within the time frame that is given to you for both exams, right? So you want to make sure you are prepared, right? And you have read and you are ready to take the exam, have that confidence. And the only way you can have that is by have gone through your manuals and you have actually studied those guidelines, done your highlighting as well.
Okay, great tips. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm going to keep going with
Okay.
my frequently asked list. Or do you have any frequently asked questions you want to discuss?
So I do get a lot of times questions asked to me on just how can I pass the exam on the first try, or maybe there's been students that maybe not have not passed the exam on the first try, and so how can they pass it the next time, right? And so it is going to be important that you understand that for the exams, they are 4 hours. And for your CPC exam, you have 100 multiple choice questions. And they are going to assess you out of 17 areas of knowledge, right? So you want to be prepared within those 4 hours. Yes, you need a 70% or higher to pass, but how can you be prepared and going in, passing the exam, right? So now that this exam is live, either from your computer at home or you go to the Proctor Center, it's all on the computer, right? If you come across the question right away, you know that it's a challenge area for you. Maybe cardiovascular is not your favorite subject or area, then just automatically flag that question. Come back to it. You don't want to waste time trying to answer a question and you know that this is an area that you have a struggle in. So that's tip number one. Also, you need to understand the process of elimination. Look at two codes, possibly, when I say two codes, CPT codes that are possibly close together, similar in the families, and possibly go back and look at the other two sections if you have to. So understanding your process of elimination, go directly to the codes in the tabular section of the codes. You're not going to have time to go to the codes and look them up in the index, right? So be mindful that this exam, all of the AAPC exams, they're timed exams. So you have to be strategic when you know ready. So those are just some tips that I want to provide. And Kiana, I'm going to turn it over to you as well. To what additional tips you want to provide?
Okay, great. I was actually looking for the upcoming CPB exam review class link. I should have been prepared with it, but I'm going to find
Okay.
it pretty quickly
You have
and
it?
drop it in the chat.
Mhm.
Yes. Yep, I'm going to put it in the chat. And then let's go ahead and answer the next question. I'm putting it in right now and bringing up the next question. Taraya, do you ladies have a reputable company or person that reviews for the CPC exam?
Great question. Yes. So I would recommend APC, right? They have reviews that they actually provide. I also do have reviews and replays available in my circle. I have a membership. So you can also have access to myself, and I'm a certified professional coder instructor, or you can just find someone directly through the APC, and then APC has some as well. Long as you're working with someone that is licensed by the APC, that's the key, right? There's so many people that can help provide that resource for you. Another option is local chapters. A lot of times the local chapters will provide reviews as well. So you have a lot of different options available to you, Taraya. Yes.
One tip that I'm going to share, which may seem like common sense, but you definitely should know what's on the exam. A lot of individuals don't even know what's going to be covered on the exam. So you can go to APC's website. There's a lot of information on the website. So I understand it can be overwhelming, but you want to go to their website. I'm just going to drop in the chat, for example, review the syllabus. Okay, the syllabus is going to outline exactly what you need to review, to prepare for the exam. And on their website, they also have a detailed list of the topics that are going to be covered on the exam, as well as a number of questions. So I'm going to share that in the chat as well. And you want to bookmark these sites. These are really important websites that you want to review. A lot of detailed information. So I just put that second link in the chat. You'll be able to see the breakdown of the exam so you understand what's going to be covered, the types of questions, and then the practice exams and the study guides. Of course, the prep course will dive deeper into, exactly what you need to know, what the content will be. Let's see here. We talked about, of course, enrolling in the prep course. We talked about the practice exams. We talked about the study guide and the review classes. Those are all excellent ways for you to prepare for the exam. You can do one or two, you can do all four of those options. The more, the better, right? The more prepared you will be. And like I said, once you are passing those practice exams with a high enough score, that's an indication of when you're ready to move forward and schedule that certification exam. So you can take the certification exam one of two ways, either remotely from home, right? From the comfort of your home. You'll need to have an external webcam, and there are a lot of different requirements, so you'll need to be aware of those, and that's all available on the AAPC website, all those details. Or you can go in person to a testing site in your state. So again, that information is available on the website. You'll be able to enter your state. Sorry, there's a plane going over. There's a On the ABC website, you'll be able to enter your state, and then you'll be able to see the different cities where the testing sites are available. They won't disclose the exact street address because they don't want individuals showing up, at any point in time. But once you actually schedule your certification exam, you've selected your site, then they'll disclose the exact street address. But those are the two options, either remotely from home or at the testing site using their computer. So it is electronic. There are no more paper exams, right, Natasha? We had to use test booklets and Scantrons and have our number two pencils and all that. That is no
Time
longer.
has changed. Yes, no more of that. I also just want to add to just make sure you create a study plan, right? So say you've gone through a program. If you've gone through a program, you need to be testing within ideally a month, but 2 months is good, right? Try not to go past 3 months once you finish a program. Test right away while the information is fresh. And then say if, for example, maybe you are doing some self-studying, then create your study plan. Maybe you need to study for at least 8 weeks and decide what are you going to tackle every day. I remember when I went through my CPC certification exam course, I was looking at something every day, at least 6 days a week. And I worked full time. I had my children. So a lot of times I would take maybe like one of my coding manuals to work. And during my break and then during my lunch, I would sit there and read, right? So just figure out what you're going to do. You should be looking at something, reading your guidelines, practicing those tests every single day before you begin to test. Don't get too comfortable and think that you're just ready, right? Just stick with it because you want to really just show yourself and prove that you're ready when it is time to test. So allocate that time. And then say if you have taken the exam and you haven't passed it, then you need to go back and look at the areas where you did not pass and really focus in those areas and those sections for improvement. Look at those questions, look to see, well, you won't have the questions necessarily, but look at your score, right? And then go back and take practice questions pertaining to those sections. Go back and reread those subsection notes and highlight and underline. And again, in our CPT manual, we have a lot of anatomic locations and we have a lot of different sizes. So go through and highlight the differences in those codes. That will be helpful in choosing your most specific code. And then my last tip that I want to share is those modifiers. Sometimes questions will be based on modifiers. And if you know your modifiers, that is one thing that I do share with my clients and my students. If you can memorize your modifiers, that will help you not only for your national exam, but even in the industry, right? So take time to make flashcards, really get to know those modifiers because that can make or break when it's time to take the exam and answer those questions as well.
Great tips. Great tips. I don't know the total number of modifiers. They're a good amount, but I agree with Natasha. I would say to memorize the most frequently used modifiers, right? There are at least 10 of them that are frequently used that you'll possibly see on the exam. So, 25, modifier 59, 50 for bilateral. Those types of modifiers are common and you should definitely be familiar with them. And one thing I always share with my students is don't be overwhelmed by the modifiers. I think especially individuals who have no prior healthcare experience are always worried about modifier usage and when it's going to be appropriate to use them. This is something you'll definitely learn on the job. One thing I recommend you do once you start working for a new employer, private practice, hospital, whatever the facility or setting may be, ask for a list of their most frequently used modifiers and get familiar with them. All right. And it's something that you'll definitely learn with time. It's not necessarily something you have to understand 100% right away, but get familiar with the common modifiers that you are going to see, you're likely to see on either the CPC or CPB certification exams. One thing that I wanted to touch on was some of the member benefits. There are a lot of member benefits offered with AAPC membership. One of them I'm going to mention because it comes up a lot is mentorship, right? We get reached out to all the time about mentorship, and we're only one person, so we can only do but so much. We give a lot to our students, and whatever else we can do, like coming on here live and answering questions, we're happy to do. But if you guys are seeking mentors, which you should definitely do, mentorship is definitely crucial for aspiring billers and coders. You want to take advantage of that member benefit with AAPC. So they have a program called Mentor City. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you definitely want to read about that and look into that. It is part of your member benefit, so it's not something that you have to pay additional for. So another link that you want to definitely bookmark and look into. Okay, let's go to the next question. How long is schooling generally? Do you have to renew your license, or is the license universal? I love this question about the license because we get to clarify for you guys that there is no license for a medical biller. There is no license for a medical coder. When we refer to ourselves as licensed AAPC approved instructors, that's something different. We're licensed to have access to their curriculum, essentially, right? We're licensed to use their curriculum, but for a medical biller and a medical coder, you are certified. So you're getting a credential that is nationally recognized. Sometimes my students will ask, well, if they move out of state, will they have to retake the exam? No, because it's a national certification exam. It's actually recognized worldwide. Okay, so just for clarification purposes, it's not a license, it's a credential for coders and for billers. Now, how long school will last, that's, I guess, going to vary depending on what type of program you're enrolled in, whether it's a trade school or whether it's an associate's degree program or a bachelor's program. I think, Natasha, you could probably share more about that.
Yes. So if you are going to, like, for example, a community college, that can possibly be a year to 2 years, depending if you're going for a certificate or an associate's degree. And then, like Kiana mentioned, a bachelor's program, that's at least 4 years. And then you can go on to even higher education, right? So, but as a certified professional coder or biller, you are certified. And that is a national certification that you can take and use with you anywhere. So that's awesome. And then once you become certified, you do have to get what is known as those continuing education units and stay on top of that. There's so many ways to do that and free ways to be able to do that. But I would encourage you, once you do become certified, to possibly attend a conference, either a national conference that AAPC offers or a regional conference. If nothing else, then attend your local chapter meetings. That is where you're able to network, and be able to connect with other billers and coders and those in this industry.
That's great. The next question is from Sharon. Sharon says, I'm looking for a job in the billing department. Do you have any tips? I have experience submitting claims with my previous employer. Well, you have experience, and that's amazing, right? That should definitely get you an entry-level opportunity at the least. But if you guys are seeking medical billing opportunities, there are plenty of them, right? In all different settings. You can work in, for a doctor's office, for a clinic, you can work for a hospital, you can work for a law firm, you can work for a university or college. You can work for a laboratory. There's so many different opportunities. You can work for a clearinghouse. You can work for an EMR company, a practice management software company. There's so many opportunities out there. Don't just think of, the traditional roles. You can work for all different types of employers who support, practices and institutions with their billing. And I would say definitely invest in a professional resume, right? Your resume is going to get you that interview, but then once you get to that interview, you guys are the ones who are going to get you that job offer. So you have to express that the value that you bring to the table, whether or not you've been paid as a medical biller, whether or not you've held that title or not. Express the knowledge and the training that you've received and that you hold, and make the employer feel comfortable about giving you an opportunity. If you go in there shy and closed mouthed, and you don't talk about, like I said, essentially what you bring to the table and how you can be an asset to their practice or their hospital, their facility, then they're likely to bypass you and move on to the next candidate who's more vocal. So those are some of the tips I would recommend. Also, if you're looking for opportunities, they're all over the internet. There's so many websites and job boards that you can look on. There's some specifically for remotes, like Simply Hired is a good remote site. FlexJobs is a good remote site. Of course, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Monster. Craigslist, believe it or not, is still out there. I know people, have their reservations about Craigslist, but don't sleep on Craigslist because they have some good opportunities. I found opportunities on Craigslist. That's probably why I still share about them all the time. I personally found some good opportunities, some good clients on Craigslist. And then, of course, LinkedIn, right? You want to have your LinkedIn profile and be networking there as well. And utilize all opportunities to network. Natasha mentioned networking at your AAPC local chapter, which is a no-brainer. You definitely want to reach out there. You should be joining the various billing and coding Facebook groups. There are a lot of opportunities there. Network with friends, with neighbors, relatives, your other church members, sports moms and dads. You just never know who will be able to connect you to an opportunity. Who knows who? You just never know. So you really want to open up your mouth and share about the experience that you have and what you're, looking to accomplish, and see where it leads.
I agree. Definitely agree. And I just will add to that LinkedIn, that's where a lot of my opportunities have come from. So Sharon, I'm not sure if you have a LinkedIn profile, but you can put that you're open to work. A lot of times recruiters will connect with you right directly in your messenger. And then there is a lot of the organizations are on LinkedIn. They post their jobs on LinkedIn. So you can search directly too on LinkedIn for those different opportunities as well.
Yes. So one other thing that I wanted to mention before we wrap up, we're going to not be on too long here, but I wanted to talk about CEUs, because once you do earn your credential, right? Once you pass your certification exam, there are two things that we have to do to maintain our credentials. Number one, we have to pay our annual membership dues. And for AAPC, currently they are $222 per year. Seems like a large amount, but when you break it down per month, you can put away $18 or $19 per month, so that at the end of the year, at the end of your particular membership year, you have the funds available to pay your membership dues. So we have to pay our annual dues, and we also have to earn CEUs, which are continuing education units. So we have to continue to learn, stay on top of industry changes. AAPC offers AAPC offers, I'm thinking of the virtual chapter meetings that you can attend. There's an unlimited amount of virtual chapter meetings that you can attend. You can go to the AAPC website, you can browse the different local chapters, and there's so many of them all over the country, even internationally. I've attended the Bahamas chapter meetings a few times. So we have no excuse as to why we cannot earn our CEUs. So if you have one credential, you have to earn 36 CEUs per every 2 years. If you have two credentials, You have to earn 40 CEUs every 2 years, and it just increases. The more credentials you have, the more CEUs you have to earn. But it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. And I'll just share one way. Like I said, attending the virtual chapter meetings is an easy, free way to earn an unlimited amount of CEUs. The chapter meetings are held almost every day. They're held all the time. You can attend them from anywhere, right? Conveniently from anywhere on Zoom or whichever platform they're being held on. So just keep that in mind. Once you earn your credentials, we do have to maintain them by paying member dues and earning CEUs. You want to add anything, Natasha?
I think you pretty much covered that. Yes, I have to earn about 44 CUs, so a little bit more. And by attending chapter meetings, or also I've been Kiana's membership as well. I get a lot going to her meetings. It's pretty easy to do. And one thing about it is you want to do that anyway, because we have to stay up to date, right? Codes change all the time. So we have new codes that come. There can be codes that are revised or deleted. So we are constantly learning in this field. So if you love to learn, then this is a great fit for you, right? So many different opportunities, and you can do it through webinars, workshops, on-demand events, and there's a lot of different vendors, even outside of AAPC, where you can receive those CUs from. Yes.
Yes, so I put the next question up. This will be the last question. Faith, or question comment. Faith said, this is really useful information. Is the virtual chapter meetings available to anyone with membership? Yes, Faith, it's available to anyone who is a member. You don't have to be certified. As long as you're an active member, you do have access to the virtual chapter meetings. Now, in order to earn CEUs, you have to be certified, right? We can't earn CEUs before our certifications and kind of bank them until we're certified. We have to wait until we're certified to actually accrue them. But I put the link in the chat for the AAPC website. You can go to membership, local chapters, and you'll be able to browse all of the local chapters. I like to do that maybe about 3 times per year. I'll spend a weekend going through every single chapter, all their calendars. Some of them you have to register for, some of them you don't, but I'll add them to my calendar it's a great way to learn various different topics. If you want to learn about OBGYN coding, if you want to learn about behavioral health billing, any various different topics on billing, coding, auditing, all sorts of options are available for you guys to continue to learn. And, if you attend a chapter meeting and you learn one gem, I mean, it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. All right, so as we wrap up here, I guess we'll close out just by sharing. I'll just share again about the CPB exam review class that's coming up on Saturday, June 21st. I'm hosting for the Cookeville, Tennessee chapter. So if you're interested, if you're pursuing the CPB exam, actually, whether you're pursuing it or not, maybe you're just thinking about it, you're not sure, maybe you need to earn some CEUs, or you are actually preparing for the exam, attend the CPB exam review class with the Cookeville chapter. It's super affordable. It's $25. It's 4 hours from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you'll earn 4 CEUs if you are credentialed. If anyone is interested in pursuing that CPB exam and you want to enroll in the prep course, or maybe you're not sure about certification yet as a biller, but you want to get some hands-on training so that you are eligible for billing opportunities, you can consider enrolling in my hands-on billing course. And actually, for Mother's Day yesterday, I sent out an email to everyone on my email list, and I'm having a huge sale. It's actually 50% off, which I never, ever, ever do, but I wanted to give back to the moms. So I'm having a 50% off sale right now. If anyone is interested again in pursuing the CPB or getting hands-on training at checkout, I'll just put the discount code in the chat. I'll actually put my website and the discount code, and you can go there. So my website is justaskthebiller.com, and the discount code is MOM2025, and that's going to get you 50% off training, okay? And Natasha, what do you have coming up? What would you like to share?
Yes. And so I have one-on-one calls with myself. So if you are just like you need to talk to someone, you can pick my brain as it relates to medical billing, medical coding, or even health information management. Maybe you need help deciding what school to attend, or you have an interview coming up and you want to go over a few questions. Maybe you're trying to just figure out which certification to obtain first, right? Or maybe you're stuck on how to find a job. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. You can schedule a call with myself and we can go from there, and I can be able to help you transition, answer your questions, right? Sometimes you just need to have that one-on-one conversation. They are Zoom phone calls. We're not on video, we're just on the audio. But yes, I would love to connect with you and see how I can help you as well.
Excellent. And what's your email address or your website rather?
Yes, I'll put that in the chat as well. It is natashacmiller.com. So you can find out all about what I have to offer and stay tuned when I have another masterclass. I do have free masterclass from time to time as well. But yes, you can check it out and then connect with me on Instagram at Medical Mompreneur or on Facebook at Medical Mompreneur as well.
Excellent. Yes. And I'm most active on Instagram, but I'm also on YouTube, of course, here on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. On all social media platforms, you can find me at Ask the Biller. So we thank you guys so much for attending live today. We thank you for your engagement, your questions, your comments. We wish you all the very best on your medical billing and coding journeys. If you need assistance, like we stated, pursuing your certifications, please feel free to reach out to us. And until next time.
Yes, until next time. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening.